Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming back to live streaming Strumstick lessons, and I hope you've all had a good week. I got an email requesting that we work on some maybe some Celtic music sometime soon, and we are going to do that probably next week. I wanted to do that work with, we did some triplets last week, and we're going to work with triplets a little bit in the stuff that we do this week also. So I want to get some of that out of the, under your belt, so to speak, so that when you're playing jigs in 6/8 time, the triplet strumming is going to be very useful for that. So I have a song to work on this week that we can use those triplets in as an ornament in part of it, and the song we're working with is "Slip Sliding Away" by Paul Simon. And I think that let's just dive right in and start with going through the chords, and I'll make sure that I got the great chords written down and all that. So the introduction to this song starts with a D and then a B minor. So your D could be this way, or just this way, or even this way. See, that third finger's not doing anything. It's the pinky down there. There we go. That's better. So that's a D, that's a D, that's a D. Any of those can be used at any point for a D. But I think this D sounds particularly nice. And that's the same finger form that you need for the B minor. So when you basically move over one string and down two strings, so you just kind of go zoop from here to here. And that D to B minor change happens a lot. And that chord relationship, by the way, in key of D, the D is the tonic chord, the D major, and the B minor is called the relative minor. And if you've heard this in a lot of songs, that transition, and that tonic to relative minor is a very common and useful chord progression. And it has a lot of there's a lot of feeling in that chord change, because going from the major tone to the minor tone many people find that stirring, that chord change. And in some ways, the B minor chord substitutes for the D major. There will be a lot of times when you're playing a D major where you could actually substitute a B minor, and you can test and see how that works out in a given song that you're doing. Okay, so we got D to B minor, and the rhythm for this, it's a skipping rhythm. I'm just going to do one little adjustment here. I want to get my headset over the strumstick, right? So the strumstick strap's not pulling at my little wire here. There we go. That's better. So that skipping rhythm, remember, is not 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That up strum is delayed a little bit, so it comes closer to the next down strum. And I call it a skipping rhythm because it's like skipping down the street. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. So just a very nice, easy. And that's the intro, and there's like humming through that. So there's a and end that little intro with a stop, either just stopping and letting it ring, or stopping and muffling the strings. Slip sliding away. Now that pause, that block silence with a stopped chord, is a very nice dramatic moment. It throws a focus on what's coming right after that. So you've done the oohs in the introduction, and then the first word, slip sliding away, the title of the song, the whole point of the song, and it's in silence so that it's really spotlighted. Now you can let that chord, the B minor, ring out. Slip sliding away. And it's a little less dramatic when you let it ring out. Slip sliding away. So you can decide which way you want to do that, and you might vary how you do that from verse to verse to verse. So that's our first little decorative element there. And then the verse is D, B minor, D, A, G, A, and then I wrote GD real close together, GD, to show that it's just a quick little flip on the G. And where that goes in is slip sliding away, slip sliding away. Don't worry about that little ornament I did there. Let me do it without that. Slip sliding away, slip sliding away. Yeah. You know that your destination, the more you slip sliding away. Now, you can do those chord changes straight, right on the beats. Slip sliding away, slip sliding one. You know the one, two. However, the way the song is phrased, it makes a little more sense to do those chord changes a half beat early. In this case, it's skipping rhythm, so it's that you know, 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, changing on the before the one, one, a two, a three, a four, a one, and that is where you change if you're doing an early chord change in the skipping rhythm. So slip, slide, and away. Slip, slide, and away. You know, the nearer your destination, the more you slide away. So it's an early chord change. Now, if the early chord change throws you a little, or if you want to do it slightly differently, you can simply strum the open strings on that before the one beat. Slip, slide, and away. Slip, slide, and away, away, away. And that up strum and then down strum is actually the phrasing of away. Slip, slide, and away. Slip, slide, and away. You know the destination, the more you slip, slide, in. And that's with the early chord change. The nearer your destination, the more you slip, slide, in. And slow down. The nearer your destination, the more you slip, slide, in. That's the open string chord change. So, slip, slide, and away. Slip, slide, and away. You know, the nearer your destination, the more you slip, slide, and away. So that's a basic rhythm. Now we could do the whole song that way, and it would be a very serviceable approach. The verse, now I know a man. He came from my hometown. That's the D, B minor, D, and that's up right there. D, B minor, D, and then D, A, G. Man. Now I know a man. Now I know a man. There we go. He came from my hometown. Wore his passion for a woman like a thorny crown. He said, Dolores, that's a lot of strumming on the G there. More passion for his woman like a thorny crown. Now that's on the beat changes. If I do the lifting chord, I know a man. He came from my hometown. He wore his passion for his woman like a thorny crown. He said, Dolores, I live in fear. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. And I wrote G, D, G, D. Okay, that's a little ornament there. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. D, 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 D. And we might do that a couple other ways. We'll throw that ornament in. And for the A chord, this would be your standard A, but you can also do this little fragment of an A. If you want to do the bigger A there, it looks like a guitar D chord. It's here and here that you're already doing, but with your third finger brought in here at the second fret. Now you're not going to get it all the way down to the second fret. It's halfway in the middle there, you're just going to have to squeeze a little harder. So D, kind of a suspended chord, a kind of a major seventh chord there, which is a little jazzy sound, but it's a nice ambiguous harmony. You know, the near your destination, the more you slip, slide, and away. The more your destination, the more you slip, slide, and away. So you can choose that one. And if you're doing this D, it just slides down. there's one more D you can finger. We did this D, and we did this D, and we did this D. There's also the D that looks exactly like a guitar D chord. That's second fret on the outside strings, and third fret on the middle string. And that's the same fingering we're using for this alternate A. So you've got all those alternate chord forms. So I recommend that you choose among them and use them even at random, because each of them gives a little tonal change to what you're doing, and you might find that you really prefer one or another in a given part of the song, depending on sort of where the melody's going at that particular point. So that's the basic chords on the verse. Now, there's and then it goes into the chorus. Slip sliding away, slip sliding away. You know that ain't your destination, or you slip sliding away. And feel free to do the on-the-beat chord changes if that early chord change or the lifting chord change throws you a little bit, and then practice that on the side and bring it in later. Now, after you do the verse, and you do the oohs, and then you do the chorus, then you do the verse, and then you do the chorus, there's a little interlude which goes down down where it says interlude. It goes C, C, G, G, D. And so the C chord is a bar here at the, what is this, 3, 4, 5, fret number 6, and the pinky up here at 7, 8, 9. So this is the octave fret is here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the octave fret. And then the pinky goes at the 9th fret, and the bar goes at the 6th fret. So that's the C chord. So it's C, C. Then for the G, you could go to this G, but this fingering, this exact same fingering, at the 3rd fret and the 5th fret is a G chord. So you can just slide that. And then the D. Now, when you do that twice, you have the option, especially since it's a bar chord, of releasing that, not opening your hand, but just stop the squeeze, and it cuts off the sound. We call that a cutting off. You could just cut off each of them. Strum, release, squeeze again, strum, release. Now that's, patting the head, rubbing the tummy a little. So you're going to need to practice that. And if you do it slowly, it's easier. Squeeze, strum, squeeze, strum, release, squeeze, strum, release. And, the squeeze and the strum happen almost as one unit, so it's really squeeze, strum, release, squeeze, strum, release. Now, it's a little dramatic. So if you want to make it slightly more subtle, you can squeeze, strum, release on the first C and let the second one ring out. So that comes, the near destination, the more you slip sliding away. That's the double cut. But if I did the single cut and then just let it ring, destination, the more you slip sliding away. Let me just sing it right through. And that's the so that's two alternatives for the rhythm on that. That at least I think the double cut is a nice thing to do there. Now, and the second place that comes in the song, you do it 2 times in a row. So you have. Now you might keep strumming the D as you go through that, or you might just let it be silent. So that's that little interlude. And then the outro goes D. The ending of the song, it goes. You could just do that D, B minor, and then just D, D, D. Or you could go D, B minor, and hold the B minor. Like that. But you can also, because the melody goes, it's actually the way I'm saying it. I'm not sure which is the harmony, which is the melody there. But you can go, the way I've written it is, that's D, B, D, D, A, B minor, 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 D. Or just hold the B minor, minor. And then the second time, D, 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 A, B minor, minor, D. So that's D, D, A, B minor, D, B, A, B minor, A, B minor. So that's the ending of the song. So there's the basic structure of the song and a rhythm to play all through it. Now, there's emotional high moments in the song. There's phrases that deserve to be illustrated, to be highlighted, and well supported by what you're playing on the Strumstick. And then there's lots of places where it's doing the same thing in each verse or in each section of a verse. So it would be nice to have some development in those sections, as well as making sure that we well support the parts that are sort of key lines. And if you look up the words to the song, you'll see that the first verse is, the first verse is, I know a man, he came from my hometown, he wore his passion for his woman like a thorny crown. He said, Dolores, I live in fear, my love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. So that's a very dramatic and passionate expression there. So it might be nice to not have a lot going on when you do that phrase. So, Dolores, bum, da, da, da. I'm still doing just our basic rhythm. Dolores, I live in fear. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. Afraid that you're overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. Now it's a little dramatic to do a single strum on each of those chords. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. So you can undramatize it a little, like bring it back a little, still keep it, dramatic and illustrative by doing a light strum after the strong strum. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. And I think of those as ghost strums. It's like you're just kind of grazing the strings, maybe not hitting all three, maybe just catching one or two, and maybe just a one down strum. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. Now listen to the difference. I'll do it two ways. One with the ghost single strum after the drama strum, and first I'll do it with just the drama strum, and listen to the difference in the way it feels. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. And then, my love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. And then finish out the strum on the last one. And it's amazing that such a subtle difference can create such a difference in the feel and the sound of it. the one feels interrupted. My love for you so overpowered, I'm afraid that I might disappear. And the other feels like there's continuity through there, but you're still articulating those single strums. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. So you can choose however you want to do that, but as always, we're using, in this case, Slip Sliding Away, we're using a song to illustrate the power of subtle differences in rhythm and subtle variations to support the emotional content of the song. And you know, this song is an emotional song. It's really, if you think about the words literally, it's kind of depressing, but like, you know, in a way not unlike the blues, even though this is not a blues song by any means, it has that ability to speak words that speak to the sadness, the ennui, the existential angst, the emptiness that we can feel in life at certain times, and at the same time to say them with an underlying aliveness that almost belies the angst. It's kind of like, well, it's a bad day right now, but I'm still cooking. That's kind of the essence of what the blues is it's never going to beat me. It's really bad right now. I'm really, I lost my job, I lost my girl, I lost my truck, kind of that notion of all the things that can go wrong in life. Things are down and beating me down, but there's always that you are still there, you're still trucking, you're still kicking. And that feeling is very much in this song. It's almost like it's like an urbane blues expression emotionally, even though the structure is not that of the blues. Okay, so we've got, I think in the first verse, start the whole song quietly too, because you've got the chorus, and the oohs, and then the chorus. Slip sliding away. You want it to have some life, but not too loud, not too soft. You know that you're your destination, or you slip sliding away. So let's play the chorus and the first verse. We're going to keep it moderate, not too loud, not too strong, and not too busy for the first verse and the chorus. So let's try playing that together. I'll take the tempo a little slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we're going to do slip, slide in a D, slip, slide in B minor. You know the D, A, G, A, G, D. Now I know a man. He came from my hometown. He wore his passion for his woman like a thorny crown. He said, Dolores. Now, when we get to this second line where it's repeating kind of the same melody structure, said Dolores, it might be nice to have something shift in the rhythm there. So you could do a couple different things there. He said, Dolores, I live in fear. And what I'm doing there is I'm just doing straight down strums. I'm not doing the up strums at all. So it's almost like maybe one up strum at the end. But I'm also cutting off to make that, again, add drama in that. Said Dolores, I live in fear. My love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. So, and that sets you up nicely for the single strums on here. It isn't so much of an interruption in the texture there. So that's one way of approaching that, is to have just a little change there. Another way to do it is if you're strumming on the verse, instead of going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, if you went 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, more spacious. 1, 2, a 1, 2, a 1, instead of 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, a. Just one up strum less. 1. If you did that on the first line of the verse, and then 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, a on the second line, now you've got just that little bit of extra energy coming in that also shifts the scene slightly there. So if it says, but I know a man, he came from my hometown, he wore his passion for his woman like a thorny crown, he said, Dolores, I live in fear, my love for you so overpowering, I'm afraid that I might disappear. Okay, so there's a couple of subtle changes between the first line of the first verse and the second line of the first verse. Now, all the way through there, pretty much I did the chord changes on the beat, because if you're playing along, I don't want to throw you, because, you know, are we doing on the beat, are we doing off the beat? You can practice those off beat or the lifting chord change for those and do those. But as we go through the structure of this, I'll probably just do the chords mostly on the beat, unless I forget and get carried away with the feeling of the song. Okay, so we just did the verse and the first line and the second line, and then we have at the end of the second line we have D, G, D, G, D. That's that little D. And that's a rhythmic figure that you can use all the way through in a lot of places for this. Now, this is with full chord changes. Now you notice I could leave that pinky right, that third finger right there for the D chord. Instead of doing this, I can use the third finger for there, and then use my first finger and the pinky for the G. I don't have to worry if that first finger bumps the first string, because I'm fretting that string all the way up here, so that note is not, you know, being articulated to be muffled by me leaning over and flopping on it. So, and that's worth practicing by itself. Now that's, you know, that's kind of an odd thing to do with your fingers, but anchor that third finger and then bring the first finger down in the pinky, and then take the first finger up and then the pinky up separately to find your fingers with your brain. First finger, pinky. First finger, pinky. First finger, pinky. You're kind of exercising the neural pathways that, you know, direct your hand to open those two, and then try doing them at the same time. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. And it takes a little while, literally, to find your finger. Most of the things that you do with your hand, you've done so many times that it's not like you're deliberately saying first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, all open at once. You just open your hand. It's like an automatic routine that gets, you know, you call up in your brain as a package. You open your hand. You don't open this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, and, you know, send a separate instruction to each one. You kind of deal with it as a package, and you don't even think about it. You just think open. Okay, so it's, you know, it happens below the level of thought. So what you want to do with little fingerings like this is you want to get them below the level of thought by starting by thoughtfully lifting them individually, locating them, kind of calibrating your hand. Oh, this is what, I never did that before. That's interesting. Okay, you want to do it? Well, I think I can do it slowly. Oh, well, that's, oh, you know, yeah, you know, I keep this one down. I can kind of, all right, we've got a deal here. I think I can pull that off for you. That's your conversation, you know, with your hand there. All to get that. Now, you will agree that this is a great sound. It's worth the effort to learn that. Now, you could fake that. The easy way out with just one string. You could play the D chord like this. Remember, anything you do on the first string, you can do on the third string. And now that feels like a little bass line going. Now, you don't actually have to pick up this finger, but sometimes rocking your hand, see how I'm doing second finger there, and then I'm bringing third finger on this fret. I don't have to pick this one up, but it's almost a little easier to squeeze with that finger if I'm not squeezing with this finger too. You can decide, and that little rock of the hand gets this finger a little closer to where you're going. It's never bad to have rhythmic rocking any place in a song if it's in time with what you're doing, because you look either silly or really cool. Remember, silly and really cool are always just a whisper apart. It all has to do with your attitude. Oh, sorry, you get that. Okay. Or just hold it. So we got a number of different things we can do, and then at that little interlude at the end of the verse, slip sliding away, slip sliding away. That's, so there's that little interlude. Now you could use that little phrase when you go into the next verse. Now, if we've got this going on the D, the G, is there anything we could do with the B minor? Now I know a woman who became a wife. Flatten out that first finger, or bring the second fret note in. Maybe pick one of those notes up, or pick this finger up. That's a little boomy down there. I think I like this one and this one. Well, I mean this one here, sorry, first fret. Now I know, no, I know. The G chord, you can pick that finger up, so you're keeping something while you sustain the G. She says a good day, she says a good day. Now, when you go, you could also go, and do that A chord fragment in there. Is the one little implied melody, and is another one, and any of those could be bass lines in there. Or of course it would be an octave lower. So we're sort of simulating the impact of a bass part here. So there's a couple different phrasings you could use for that little interlude in there. And then, as we said, with the G chord, picking the finger up or picking the first finger up, the first string note up. Those are a couple things you could do. Now, a big decision you can make, and again, this is a subtle thing, but it makes a difference. Either way works. and having both of them at your command will be very useful. When I start doing this, no, I know a woman became a wife. Do I want to do that on the one beat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I want to do it on the one beat and the three beat? I'm sorry. 1, 2. It's on the two beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. That's the one I'm trying to say there. So do I want to do it on the 2 but not the 4, or do I want to do it on the 2 and the 4? 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll give you the right words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or include the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the same thing on the B minor. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I know a woman became a wife. These are the words she used to describe her So you can decide whether to have, 2 of those bumps in the measure or just 1 in the measure. And it's not critical that you do one or the other, but it's very useful to do one some of the time and the other some of the time so that you have another texture change in there. Okay, so where we're at now is see the development when I do it more in the second half of the verse. I've introduced something new and given it to you in a little bit in the first line, and then a little bit more in the second line. So you have a progression, a growing, kind of expansive development there. That's when in doubt, start small and get gradually bigger, and then come back again, either gradually or abruptly. You can go up and you can go down. There's not a lot of sideways. If you go sideways too long, that's like everything the same, everything the same. And if you just do this for the whole song, there's no development at all. But if you're going, and then, so I've got development, and you've got something for the ear to follow that's like, oh, there's something new over here. Oh, there's something new over here. And that's often what we're aiming for. Now, don't get so carried away with development that you override whatever the content of the song is. So we're interrupting the development to go. Okay, so there's some more development. Now, what we talked about at the big introduction here, that I wanted to work on some triplets in here, because this skipping rhythm, the triplets can be a really nice additional ornamental introduction. So I'm going to preface the triplets by saying that if you're going just that basic rhythm, you could do that with all down strums. That's very strong. It's a one sound rhythm, down, 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 instead of down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The down, up, down, up, down is like three-dimensional. Something here, something here. It's like it's in stereo. The down, da, down, da, down, da, down is like mono, and it's just all down, bump, 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 all on the same ear, kind of. But you could do that. Da, 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 da. but you got to really stay on top of your 1 a 2 a 1 a 2 a rhythm if you're going down to down, because you don't want it to turn into down 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 down. You know, if you want to rearrange the song, sort of a punky approach to it, you could do that. But if you want to keep that sliding away rhythm, and I find one way to help that if I'm going to do those all downs is to anchor my hand a little behind the bridge and strum back here right in front of the bridge. But see, if I go down, 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 there's a lot of wild motion and quick changing, come back up so you can go down again. So you're kind of like, blah, 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 and that's where you can lose the rhythm. If you anchor your hand here and accept that your strums are going to be a little minimal, and that also gives it a chance to put that the right hand mute, where you muffle the strings just in front of the bridge. That's a nice sound. That's very interesting because we have energized it by going to that one sound rhythm, but we brought it back by making those be muffled notes rather than loud with a lot of overring from strum to strum to strum to strum. So if you're going to do the second verse with just the down strums, this is all, like I said, sort of a preface before we get to the triplets. Now I know a woman became a wife. These are the very words she uses to describe her life. Said a good day, ain't got no pain. And it's a little intense. You might want to just do it for one part of the line. A woman became a wife. These are the very words she uses to describe her life. She says a good day ain't got no pain. Says a bad day's when I lie around, I think the thing that might have been. So the transition from to this gives you a real shifting spotlight as you go through. Now, the thing with the triplets, and the reason I wanted to do the down, 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 down first, is if you're going down, to 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 down, there's no way by sound to distinguish which is the beat and which is the You know what I mean? It's like when you're going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, we're saying that up sound, which is a different flavor. That's a different flavor than the ringing out is the same, but you hear instead of, so the down strum goes ba-da-dim, 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 and the up strum goes dim, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. And when you hear them, it doesn't quite sound the same as if you go. There's a little tonal difference, so that the is the in-between beat is articulated slightly differently, and so you can kind of separate them, whereas when you do all the down strums, they're the same identical sound. Now, what triplets are is putting 3 beats, 3 strums in the space that you might have had 2 before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you had 1, a 2, 1, a 2, and now I'm going da 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 2, da 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 2, da 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 da. So I'm putting 3 equal in the space of 1 to 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, da 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 da. Well, you can't see my hands over here. Sorry. 1, 2, 1, 2, da 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 da. I can't. I keep. You get the idea. It's a little tricky to do. Try that. Try that in the shower. You look really crazy. But that's if you can picture that 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, where the 1 2 3s are happening at the same beat pattern as the 1 2 3 4 war. Let's try that just counting out loud. We're going to go say 1 2 3 4, and then we're going to say 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, so that's the triplet rhythm. Now, we don't have three things to do that with. Now you could play single strings. That's a little tight and hard and fast, and I'm not sure that really fits sound-wise in here. What you do instead is you take down and up, which are two things, and we talked about this last week. You have down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So that's one little burst of 1 2 3. Now, since you finish the 1 2 3 in a downward motion, 1 2, see, right, down, up, down. What should come next? Well, up, down, up. And now my hand is just going down, up, 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 down, up. But how did that turn into 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3? Well, by the miracle of accenting, if you accent the one beat, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, and I'll dramatize it with the lift of the strumstick for the accent, either dropping it for the downbeat or lifting it on the upstrum. 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So practice that by itself slowly. Down, up, 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 down. Did you ever see a lassie go this way, go that way? Did you ever see a lassie? That's the kind of rhythm that we're talking about there. Now, after you've got that so you can do it, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. It's actually harder to say it than it is to do it. And if you want to say da 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 instead of 1 2 3 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4, da 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 da. Doesn't that sound like a developmental introduction all by itself? 1 2 3 4, da 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 da, and then on to whatever song you're doing. You've heard that in songs, that triplet introduction. So once you have that under your command, you could go a little burst in there. A woman. Da 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 da. Now I know a woman. And maybe even less. Now I know a woman. It needs at least two of them. Da 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 da, to get your upstrums and downstrums back in sync. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You can practice that in two parts. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Now I know a woman. She came from my hometown. Wait, she became a wife. These are the very words she uses to describe her life. The very words she uses to describe her life. Muffled back here, either your forearm or your palm, and just a steady beat. See, I'm not going down. I'm just doing a steady beat. Ain't got no pain. Little bits of upstrum. Ain't got no pain. So tremendous amount of rhythmic development that you can incorporate in this if you move into being able to add those triplets. They're almost like a drum roll in terms of the energy that they have. Now, the song has, as we said, has a alternate verse, an alternate verse structure, and it goes, "Now I know a father had a son," and that's like a little departure from the main structure of the song. Now, some songs work. They'll have a chorus and a verse and a chorus, a verse, and then they'll have a bridge that's a completely different set of chords and a different melody as a sort of an interlude, and then they'll come back to the chorus or the next verse, and verse, chorus, maybe another bridge, and then verse, chorus. This acts kind of like a little mini bridge. It's really just sort of a, instead of, now I know a father. Okay, so it takes less time, so it's rhythmically different. Now I know a father had a son. He longed to tell him all the reasons for the things he done. The father had a son. He longed to tell him all the reasons. Wait, why did I write that? The father had a son. I missed changing those chords. All the things he done. All right. So on this line, it should be G A D that I have. Father had a son. I love to tell him all the reasons for the things he done. This is the same as tell him all the reasons for the things he done. That's the same as the end of the normal end of the first line of the verse. So that D, C, C, that's a no-no. It should be D and then D, A, G. Now I know a G, A, D, belong to D, 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 A, G, G, G. And my apologies on that. You're going to have to pencil that in somewhere. And then this part's the same. Okay, so we've covered all the little structural elements of the song. We've talked about creating development by being sparing in your use of upstrums early and keeping it quiet early, and then building in intensity with volume a little, if you want, building in intensity by adding more upstrums. We talked about using the lifting chord to make the chord change sync with the rhythm of the melody a little differently, or do an actual early chord change. And we talked about doing all down strums and muffling. And by the way, that could be a nice thing to only bring in the second half of the verse. No, I know a woman became a wife. Boy, whatever you say in that space really stands out because you've quieted back, you've kept the energy of the rhythm going there, so you haven't like screeched on the brakes, but you really quieted down. Okay, so and we talked about adding that little rhythm melody phrase. That could be through those various chords, and we have the little interlude either with boom, 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 strum, 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 boom, 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 or letting it ring the second time. Sorry. And that's subtle, so that's optional for you. So there's a whole bunch of pieces. So what I'm going to do to kind of wrap things up here, I'm going to play through probably most of the song. I'll sing some of it, and some points I'll just go do 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 do. So you kind of have an idea where we are in the song, and I'll vary that stuff according to the way that feels good to me at this moment as I think about the words to the song and so on. Just kind of as an illustration of the kitchen sink approach. And you're welcome to strum along, because you can always go to this video again, go to the the recording of it, and check out any of the pieces of this. And if you want to review this little part I'm doing at the end while you're not playing along later, you can do that, or you can play so you can play along now and listen to it without later, or you can not play along now and then play along with it on the recording. So it's up to you. And as always, questions can come to info@strumstick.com. And, please ask me any questions that you have. And I'll just close by saying, big things are happening in our country now, and there's things happening that are long overdue, and it's a difficult and delicate matter of recovering from past wrongs and past injustices. And I hope everyone can keep their good sense and their patience around, and open hearts, and open feelings for people who have been the victims of injustice at various times in the past. So please bring your hearts to that challenge that our country faces right now. We can do it. We've done it before. We've done it step by step. The progress is forward and upward, even if it takes a long time between steps sometimes. And let's take this big step, because we got to do it. So that's all I'm going to say. And we can say it while we're singing Slip Sliding Away, because we don't want it to slip slide away. We want to keep what we got and have it get better. But sometimes you feel slip sliding away. So here we go. Actually, would I start that even a little softer? Ooh, maybe even with ooh. Slip sliding away, slip sliding away, yeah. You know that near your destination, the more you slip sliding away. No, I know. Here's a little percussive strums there, just like little snare strums. No, I know a man. He came from my hometown. No, I know a man. The little flopping over and doing a snare strum. No, I know a man. He came from my hometown. He wore his passion for his woman like a thorny crown. Said the slip sliding away, slip sliding away, yeah. So that in the destination, slip sliding away. Now I know a woman. I'm doing a forearm muffle, and I'm strumming up here in the middle at the forearms against the strings. Woman. What that does is I could do this, woman. It's hard to do the up strums when your hand's anchored here. So you have to do the down, down, to down, to down. But if you let the meaty part of your forearm blob onto the strings to muffle them, you can still do the up strums, and it's a little mellower tone up here in the middle. No, I know a woman. Either cutting off or not. A woman. Became She says a good day ain't got no chain, ain't not gonna pay. Whatever the words are. My little good days when I lie around and I think of things that might have been. Slip sliding away, slip sliding away. Lighter and back towards the bridge to get a different tone. Octaves. He kissed his boy as he lay sleep, boy as he lay sleeping, and he turned around and headed home again. Or he kissed his boy as he lay sleeping, and he turned around and headed home again. Just a little burst of melody. Slip sliding away, slip sliding away. See, and now when you do that, if you do that little percussive thing in between, if you do it in here, you get the high clickety clickety. If you do it right over the octave fret, you get a kind of that harmonic of touching the string right in the center of its length. So if you're doing it with a couple fingers, it's kind of a semi-harmonic. That's a good spot for triplets, so God only knows. That little staccato rhythm. I'm doing a little muffle with this forearm again to cut it off on a beat there. That God only knows. And maybe do a snare strum while you're muffling it. Now God only knows when he makes his plan. If you can carry the triplets all the way through, the information's unavailable. Now that's a lot, and this is where we're going to get into that jig rhythm, but this is that. And you can break out into the regular rhythm at any point, or you can just carry it all the way through. Information's unavailable. Now, you could put a triplet phrasing to the words there instead of going, we think we're rolling down the highway, but in fact we're slip sliding away. But you could go, we think we're rolling down the highway, but in fact we're slip sliding away. We think we're rolling down the highway, but in fact we're slip sliding away. And that's like triplets with all down strums. Rolling down, instead of going da 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 da, we're just doing we're going rolling down the highway. 1 2 3 1 2 3. It's like half speed triplets instead of 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. We think we're rolling down the highway, but in fact, so you can break at any point there. Rolling down the highway, letting traffic slide away. You figure out where it feels good. We're rolling down the highway, letting traffic slide away. And then the chorus 2 times at the end, and then. Da-da. Let's do it from the top of that. Da-da, da-da. The first line ends on the B minor. The second time ends on the D. Some variation of the chords that I put there. You could do it as written or less, or just go back and forth. And then the B minor, and then ending on the D. And there you have it, slip sliding away. So do your best not to slip slide away this week, but slip slide your way through this song and do a little rocking while you play it. And I hope you'll have a safe and as happy a week as you can have. And as we're getting more and more at one level used to what we have to do to be safe, we're also maybe getting more and more bored with what we have to do to be safe. But at the same time, if you've got your routine down, look for the joy where you can find it. The flowers are blooming. The weather's getting great. We're getting thunderstorms rolling in, and be outdoors when you can. All that stuff. So take care of yourself and take care of business and be well. And I will see you next Thursday night. Thank you for coming.